One thing that we both want to make really clear is that really all that you need to do your first home event or to do a home event in general is to have a product to present, have a passionate story to tell, right? An authentic story, and have a guest. It could be a one-on-one, it could be something in a, more of a classroom setting. There's all kinds of ways that you can do that. And we're going to talk about the different ways, but we don't want you to feel stuck into having to do anything fancy. It could literally, I mean, this isn't technically a home event, but I've done a one-on-one in an airport, sitting in a chair with a products guide. I didn't even have the only product I had was what I was using on myself. So it really doesn't have to look any certain way. And I think sometimes we overthink it and we think it has to be really fancy or it has to look like what somebody else is doing. And although some classes may be fancier than others, and we want you to be able to have fun with it and get creative, it doesn't have to be. And the more simple that you keep it, the more likely it is that somebody is going to feel comfortable duplicating your efforts. And that's what this whole business is about, is being able to duplicate it. Because if you have to be the only one enrolling people all the time, you're not going to really grow because all you're doing is sales. You're just selling kits at that point. And yeah, they may order again here and there and that kind of thing, but you're not going to have the explosive growth that you need to have an organization that's going to really go far. So let's first talk about when you're planning an event, because today we're mostly talking about home events here. You want to choose a space, or in-person events. I shouldn't even say home, because you're keep in mind your home doesn't have to be perfect. I know when I was in ministry, I would talk about hospitality with the women and encourage them to practice hospitality because it's a great way bringing people into your home and sharing the gospel, sharing just love and things that you're trying to minister to people on. You want to be able to practice hospitality, but a lot of people were very intimidated by that because they thought they had to have the perfect china. They thought they had to have, the great big house, or everything had to be spotlessly clean before they could have people over. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's, the age of June Cleaver or something, but everybody seems to have that hesitation with hospitality. It doesn't have to be that way. In fact, when I go to somebody's house and it's a little messy, I kind of feel more comfortable, don't you? You feel like, oh, okay, I feel better about my house now. I don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm telling you, that kind of thing caused me a lot of anxiety over the years, being a pastor's wife. So don't let it get in the way of your business too. Not only does your house not to be have to be perfect, it doesn't even have to be a home. I just recently set up an event it's not even a chiropractor's office. I'm not sure what it is. It's called Advanced Energy Health and Wellness. But I went to a little social thing that they had to introduce their new business, and I met some people there, and I said, oh, this might be a good fit for, if I brought my team here and did a class here, would you mind kind of collaborating on that? And so we're supposed to be having lunch this week because I'm going to host my next monthly meeting at this place. And so it doesn't have to be a home. It could also be at a chiropractor's office. Sometimes it's nice to join forces with a local health and wellness center of that sort, because not only are you helping this person, this chiropractor to get, or an acupuncturist or whatever, not only are you helping people to know that they're there, but now you can give them a flyer and they can set it on their counter. And so now you have a whole new group of people that you can share with. So remember, it doesn't even have to be a home. Feel free to get ideas from other people, but don't feel obligated to do it a certain way. It doesn't need to be their way. You want to be able to have your own creativity and your own style to whatever it is you're doing. One thing I really stress with my people, though, is if you are going to host something in your home, try to be consistent with what you have on your counter. If you're talking to them about detoxing their home and they see palm olive on your counter, it's not gonna be super productive. So you want to be consistent, and that just is a matter of making sure that you're a product of the product and that you are you're proactively detoxing your own home so that you have an authentic testimony.
I will say one thing Another place that doesn't have to be a home that I've found to be a really fun place to do more of a class style event would be to partner with a real estate agent and doing talks with their a real estate broker who has real estate agents in their team and host something for their team and or even like an open house kind of a space for their recent sales clients or repeat sales clients or just the people that they've stayed in touch with can be a great way to host something too. They usually have a classroom kind of a space. So um yeah, talk to the people that you know and get creative about um how can you present information. Um, Sometimes the word class works really well. Sometimes it's a talk or a get together or a
Or
uh,
workshop.
workshop or a meeting or like depending on who you're talking to, you may need to adjust from the word class to whatever it is that they would be receptive to. So obviously we're teaching.
Some people, it is just a party. We always avoided the word party because we were kind of reacting to Tupperware or whatever. And so we didn't want to call it a party. But some people actually, that is exactly what they want. They want to, maybe they want to do, I've done some that are for birthday parties or baby showers and things like that. So, they want some fun activity. And so yeah, you're right. It really depends. And I love that you brought up a real estate. I just signed up a real estate agent today and her daughter. So, and they're
Another
very connected. So if you can get them on board, they are very connected in obviously in the your local area because that's what they do.
another place you can check if your area has Joanne Fabrics. In our area, the Joanne Fabric store lets us use their little back room that fits. If you have a small amount of people, I could probably fit about 20 people in there. And that way I can just take my things over there and not have to clean up my own house or worry about if someone feels intimidated by coming out to where I live. I've never been there before, or someone who doesn't really know me that well and might know the person who signed them up but doesn't know me. They'll come to a Joanne Fabric and walk to the back of the store and walk in the room.
You can get creative, and then also, like we were talking about, have it in other people's homes. Find some friends that would be happy to host the party, even if they don't want to be involved in anything else, or at least not yet.
Well, and so to that point, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Sometimes even the idea of hosting something, if we get intimidated about hosting something in our own houses, sometimes other people do too. And so, one strategy that I learned that I thought was fantastic because it's something I would say yes to, even if I was like, I don't think I'd be ready to host. If I was approached from the standpoint of, why don't I just come over and we'll go through what's in in like the oils that you have, or we'll go through my oils and talk through the ones that would probably be the most beneficial to you, and get your questions answered. And if you have a friend or two that want to come and learn at the same time, or three, then by all means, like, have them over and we'll go through what their needs are too. Now it's not a party or a class or anything intimidating. They're gonna end up inviting the people who would show up in their house, whether they'd cleaned it or not, who would turn on the coffee pot and throw their dishes in the dishwasher for them. Like that's who they're gonna invite over, so they don't feel intimidated that they've got to do this charcuterie presentation kind of a thing.
Or
Um,
that they're gonna let you down because enough people didn't show up, or it's not official and beautiful or whatever.
Right. And so all that you've said is, why don't you and I get together? And if you have a friend or two who want to come. So it's literally a pressure-free way to get them to make a class for you. So yeah. Uh
Exactly.
yeah, okay. So yeah, not everyone can get to your house because you live on a military base. So yeah, getting creative at a different place is a great.
Or you're in the middle of a remodel or or
There's
husband's sleep.
situations.
Yeah,
For sure. And
exactly.
if you can show that you can be creative, the really cool thing is they'll start thinking about, well, I could do it at this place. The people that you have to to those events will have that same kind of thought process of, well, how could I
Yes.
do this? Right?
And it shows the flexibility too. Yeah, that's great. Okay. All right. And then you want to kind of choose a theme. You want to think, what is this class going to be focused on? Now, I still encourage people to keep their theme as simple as possible. Look for things that you love. Like, what are you into? What can you afford? What is it that comes easy to you to talk about? If let's say if makeup and skincare is not your thing, you live on a farm and you never wear makeup and you care less, you wouldn't be probably having a makeup class or a skincare class, right? Don't do things that are outside of who you are, or it's going to feel awkward and you're going to feel like you're not really authentic, because honestly, you're not if that's the case. So you want to think about the things that you're into, and think outside the box with it too. Make sure that there may be times when it's something that doesn't at first glance seem like it's about oils. Like maybe you're going to teach people how to make bone broth, or maybe you're going to teach people how to make what was the one we did recently on the fire cider. There's different things that you can show people how to make. I even had one lady that was teaching crocheting classes, but that was part of her oil presentation. She talked about oils and they made different things that they could add oils to. So that was really interesting. So
That's
you
cool.
can do all kinds of
Sourdough classes.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
somebody here locally who's doing sourdough presentations and passing around sourdough, and
Yeah, we
so
did a
many.
mental health one and made therapy dough. And bring your kids so they can make the therapy dough, and we sat them at a table so they could add their oils to their therapy dough.
There
Lots
you
of
go.
lavender and calm.
Great idea. Oh, I will say I had a really fun class. This was several years ago. The probably one of my most successful, I had the most people at it, was a uh what did I call it? Um make it like a unicorn themed thing where they were making and taking roller bottles or lotions that had shimmer powder in them. You can
Oh,
get
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
get like mica powder, and it's a natural substance. It's perfectly fine to put on your skin. And then you add in the oils. Make your own magic is what I called it. And it was a hit at the place that I had marketed it to, which was a little local coffee shop. And
So,
I
so
was very surprised. There were a lot of teens that came.
just,
So
just out of curiosity, so I did one with my granddaughters and their friends, and it was like little perfumes, and they could put unicorn stickers and stuff like that on there. But it was such a mess with the mica powder, so I put it in little dropper bottles like these, and I just put a little bit of whatever we were using and added the mica powder to that. So all they did was put a squirt in there. But I have like 50 colors. So I'm like, how are other people doing this without making a huge mess?
I finally figured out the easiest way to do the mica powder is to actually preload the rollers with it
Okay.
and do it in advance. So here's purple ones, here's blue ones, here's pink ones, whatever, and you have a couple of different colors, and then they just pick it. It's clean, it's done. You've made the mess and cleaned it up ahead of time. And then
Okay.
if there's leftovers, the fun part about that is they're really great at markets or future make and takes, or as giveaways. So if you end up with extras, then there's other ways to make use of them for sure.
Okay. And so did you have the oil in there already too, or just
Just the
the
powder,
carrier? Just the
not even
powder.
the
Okay.
carrier, just the powder.
Okay.
And I would just kind of, I would show and tell with a different bottle that was already filled, of like, this one has the mica powder in it, put the drops in, and then you fill the rest. And um, it's fun because it kind of works like, what are those things called? Like a,
Snow globe?
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So
so too.
it's a little bit mesmerizing. They're great for relaxation things
They
too.
really are. They're gorgeous. I just
Yeah.
love it. And the different colors are, you can do gold at Christmas and green and red and things like that, or you could do Valentine's Day red and pink, and so it can get really fun. And the little girls literally lost their minds. They thought it was the most amazing thing. And then I let them decorate the bottles with stickers. But these are the kind of things you can just get creative with it and have fun with it. You know, I've heard people that came to me and said, "Well, I heard all I needed to just do all 101s." I don't think I don't think we can put people in a box that way. You want them to be able to express themselves and have fun. And if they think all they can do is one specific thing over and over and over again, although yes, you can duplicate that way, you also want something that's going to inspire you and energize you and get you excited. And so if you find classes that are going to, you know, do that for you, then it's going to be motivating to you. It's going to be motivating the people that are attending because they can read that on you. And that's what makes it satisfying. You want a business that's satisfying and changing lives and also, you know, keeping you going. We do have different resources for different kinds of classes. So if you need some ideas for different kind of classes to do, we have that in the back area of my website, along with Canva templates for invites and some scripts, some demos of classes that are, you know, have been done before. So just lots of different things. So ask me about it if you need any of that, and I'll direct you to the right spot.
Another thing to consider on the theme is do something that's seasonal. And so one thing that I'll do is, like, I do one class at my house per month, and I'll try to keep the theme based on the time of year. So so for example, at Thanksgiving, like right before Thanksgiving, I'll do one in early November, and we do a make and take turkey brine in mason jars, and it's you know, like it's a gift from me because it's like it's sugar and salt and a couple of spices in a jar. And a lot of times, like, that's what I do for my neighbors is, you know, turkey brine. And they enjoy coming over for that one too. So or in early February doing something that's hormones. A lot of times in spring is when I'll do an emotions class because there's a little bit of a gap, or spring cleaning. In the summertime doing you know, skin health, because people are concerned about, you know, the sun and that sort of thing. So you know, make it something that's relevant to the time of year is a great way to choose your theme and keep it fresh and new.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't go overboard if that's not your thing.
Right. Anything that we're talking about, if it's not something that resonates with you, don't do it. Do something else. There's so many options. And do something that here we go. So what do you think about what you're into? What excites you? Are you, you know, are you wanting to use this as a ministry? Are you into hospitality? Go all out, do whatever you want, but do make sure that you're keeping in mind that you want to be duplicable. You don't want to make it seem so hard that nobody wants to do it, or that people think they have to be an expert before they can do it. You don't want to be the expert. That can actually work against you quite a bit. So think about that. But do think about what excites you. Do you like teaching? Then go all out. Let that be your thing. Teach. But make it in a way that is duplicable. So if you teach, make sure that you record your teaching and share that with the team that they can share with other people. And also keep it really simple. Maybe as you're teaching, you can have scripts written out so that your people can duplicate that. But find ways that you can share your skills without muffling them. Anybody else have anything they wanted to share on any of this? Does anybody have any classes scheduled this month that they want to share what they're doing? So I have a brain health class scheduled for this Friday, and we're going to also incorporate the reset into that as we talk about, you know, God made us as physical beings, but also spiritual and emotional beings as well. And so how just treating one of those things is not as productive as treating the whole person. And so it's going to be a good way, I think, to address all the needs that we have. I'm also going to be,
Oh.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we have a reset class that we're teaching. So all things Ninja Red, and we're going to make the ginger shots.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun.
The same ones we made when you were here?
Yes.
Oh, those are so yummy. Actually, I have the recipe for that on one of these slides with Amy's hands.
I'm doing a vendor event in May.
Oh, good. Good. That's awesome. What is the focus of the vendor event?
It's actually a craft event, and I'm unfortunately not allowed to sell any oils at it, but I can sell things I made with the oils. So I'm selling like a sink and tile cleaner and like a surface cleaner. And last year when I did the same event, I did a sign up sheet to see if anybody wanted to win a free oil necklace if they were willing to share their contact information.
Cool. That's
Awesome.
great. And are you going to have a home event scheduled afterwards, or some kind of event you can invite them to?
I'm thinking about that, but I'm still trying to figure that out. I think maybe the next one I do might need to be at a park or at a beach, because not everybody can get to my house because I live on a military base and because there's
Oh,
next to no parking.
right. Okay.
But I did do one not that long ago, and I did get 3 people to show up, but I want to potentially be able to get more people that don't have base access.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
We're thinking
Okay,
about it,
so
but otherwise not scheduled.
You'll find a place, that's for sure. So
yeah.
I posted this in the comments, but you want it to look easy, you want it to look affordable, you want it to look profitable, and also not time consuming. So if those would be the things that you would be going for when it comes to events, that they see that they could do this and it would be not just that they could do this, but that they could do it and it would be worth their time. So to the best of our ability, that's what we want things to look like. So one of the cool things about doing an event where you're actually, selling handmade goods is people see that as like you're making instant profit. And also you're collecting people's contact information, and to follow up and, bring them to classes, and you're collecting people's information who are obviously interested in your case, it would be natural cleaners and toxin-free living. And so piggybacking a class on that of, hey, we're gonna do a get together and make make an eternal laundry soap. I'm gonna show you how to get 1,000 loads of laundry out of this one bottle. There's ways to do that too. Then now they're going, oh, I like that idea. So playing with the same thing, but you don't have that available for purchase. Right. So there's some different ways to do that.
Yeah. And it's also a matter of getting out in the public and networking. So there's all kinds of benefits that may come later down the road. I had 2 people call me last month or last week that I met in previous months about presenting at another event. And they didn't sign up at the class, but it got my name out there. So okay, let's talk about inviting. This is probably one of the areas that I am not super consistent with, and I need to be better. But remembering to invite. Sometimes we can spend so much time and focus getting ready for an event that we forget that we're not actually marketing the event itself. We market our products, but we don't market the event that's going to talk about the products. So both are very important. There's a lot of different ways to do that. I mean, we used to get on Facebook and we do Facebook Lives and things like that. That's not quite as much a thing anymore. But you can create a Facebook event, and it depends on the group. Like right now, if I share it in the Common Sense community, share an event, I can't invite people from it. It's super weird. I don't know what happened. I think it's because it's an older group, because our new group, Common Sense Oils, I can invite, but I can't do it on the Common Sense community. And I was told that it's probably because it's an older group because they have different functionalities. But we don't want to lose that group. So not sure what to do about that. But anyway, normally if it's a newer group, and I think maybe on your personal wall, you can share an event and then you can automatically invite everybody in that group. So people will get notifications, they'll get reminders. I mean, it's kind of a really nice automatic way of doing it. You can do the same thing through Project Broadcast if you have a tag for people who want to be notified of classes. The most important thing to do is to invite people personally. That can be in the form of text messages, it can be emails, you can pick up the phone. You can do it the old-fashioned way. Some people really like to get an invitation in the mail. I know nobody does that anymore, but I have a few elderly ladies. I mean, my next door neighbor across the street, she's older, and my daughter's baby shower is coming up, and my other daughter invited everybody on Facebook, like not everybody on Facebook, but all the people that are invited, she invited them through Facebook. And I said, you did make sure that you told Mrs. Vogel, right? She said, oh yeah, I sent out a Facebook mess. I sent out a thing on Facebook and she was tagged. I'm like, she is not going to see that. She probably checks every 3 months. You cannot do that. So, yeah, just sending something out on Facebook isn't an invitation. That's an announcement. Okay. Don't think of that as an invitation. You need to have interaction with an invitation. You need to have somebody needs to feel like you're going to see if they don't answer. You really do care if they're there or not. Text isn't always totally the best, and neither is a messenger app like on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, because not everybody sees that. It might be great for the teenagers, but I'm not sure that depending on, your average, our age kind of person, I don't know that they're going to see it. So you need to be specific. But picking up the phone, I know not everybody likes to even talk on the phone anymore, and you have to text them before you talk to them on the phone, all kinds of different rules these days. But whatever way it is, talk to the person in the way that they want to be communicated to as much as possible and get some interaction. If you need to say, hey, do you have a second? Can I give you a call? Or I wanted to know if you were going to come over this weekend. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. I knew this was a subject I knew you'd be excited about. Make it personal, think of something that is going to be specific to them and bring it up in your conversation, and make sure that you're asking it in a way that is expectant. If you just say, by the way, if you want to come, would be great to see you, and you don't ask a question and it doesn't sound like you want a response, then you may not hear from them again. They're just going to think you sent it out to everybody. If you're doing a DIY, I do encourage you to charge something to cover your cost. One thing that I've noticed is sometimes adding a fee, even if it's just $5, it adds value to your event. People think, oh, this must be something cool they're charging for it. It's a psychological thing, I think. But also people are more likely to you won't have as many no-shows if they have to pay. They don't want to lose that $5 or whatever it is. It's just, even if it was $1, it's a mental commitment once they've done that. So you're going to have more people showing up. Sometimes I'll say, if for some reason you can't afford that, let me know and we'll work something out. I want to make sure everybody's able to attend. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if that's the way they need to RSVP, you're going to get more consistency with people showing up.
So
also,
Paige, I got a quick thing. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, so something else to consider here is, as we're talking through the different ways that you would invite people, would be if you were doing this for, say, a baby shower or a wedding shower or something like that, you would make a list of everybody you wanted to invite. And then you would invite them, through various methods. It might all be through paper email or paper messages or emails or texts, right? In this situation, you might do a variety of things. So you might take that list and go, this person gets a phone call, this person gets a text message, this person likes Messenger, right? And so you're going to codify who based on your list of people that you came up with, how do they want me to interact with them? Now, I was just thinking about this as we were talking, and I was like, there is a way to send a voicemail to someone. There are services out there. I'm looking at a list. There's one called drop.co, slide dial. So what these are is you send a message that's that's slightly more generic and it goes directly to their voicemail. Not too generic. You're like, hey, I'm so excited. I'm sad I got your voicemail, but I wanted to tell you we're having an event at my house on this day. It's Jill and whatever, and you tell them about the event and you're like, by the way, I know you're busy, but just shoot me a text and let me know if you can make it. And I was hoping that maybe you could bring something. So shoot me a text and I'll get you some more information. And so now you've eliminated the time because you could send that same message to 10, 15 people at the same time. And you're not going to get caught on a phone conversation with them for 3 hours, which I am notorious for doing. And now you've invited them to get back to you in a quicker way too. And then if it's something that they want to pick up the phone to talk to you more about, then they're going to do that. But you could get some more voice time with people very simply using something like that too. And it doesn't ring to their phone. What it does is it rings once and then it and hangs up and then it rings again. And because of that interference, the second one goes straight to voicemail. And their phone never actually rings. It's an interesting thing. I've had it done to me and it was like, I didn't mind. It was cool. Like, it felt very much like they were just talking directly to me. And that's having a good, like, message ready to go too, as to what you would say on that voicemail.
Yeah, absolutely. And hearing your voice makes it seem way more casual and personal, regardless. So, and another thing would be to assigning them tasks helps them to take ownership of coming. So if my friend invites me to her house and I'm supposed to be bringing the pasta salad, I'm not gonna sit there and think, oh, I'm too tired to go. Maybe I'll just skip it. They're not even gonna notice I'm not there. Now I have this obligation because I'm bringing the pasta salad, right? And they're not gonna have enough food. Or if I'm bringing the chairs, or if there's something that is my job. And so I try to do that, especially with people that I really want to make sure that they're there. Do you think you could, I'm out of thieves, do you think you could bring an extra bottle just in case we run out? Whatever. There can be lots of things, lots
I
of
have
jobs.
a friend who's a photographer. Do you think you could come and bring your camera so that we can get some great shots for
Exactly. You
you
can
know,
even make a list of jobs that you can ask people to do. And it's not like a list like it's supposed to stress you out, like I have to do all these things. No, these are just if you need, you need to give somebody a job, you have some ideas for things that would be nice if they could bring it. So yeah, so those are some things to get people to actually show up. Those are
on time too. They'll be more on time.
yeah.
Some people are notorious for being late, so
Right. And not to forget about that reminder text too, because just because somebody RSVP'd and told you how excited they were going to come and they couldn't wait and they're going to bring a friend and all these things, sometimes if they don't get that reminder, I cannot tell you how many times when I've sent a reminder text out for home events on Project Broadcast, I get tons of messages back. Oh, I'm so glad you sent this. I totally forgot. Like, oh my gosh, what if I wouldn't have sent it? So all those people, sometimes people just need an extra reminder. I do want to tell people, you could just put the reminder on your calendar. You could just do 30-minute, but nobody knows that or has that option. So you can put in that reminder just something, by the way, feel free to bring the kids, or not, however you do that, or where to, tell them where to park when they get here, make sure you park around back. That's where all our real friends come through, something like that. You can make it really personal and fun and let them know how excited you are. They're not going to want to disappoint you if you're excited that they're going to be there, right? So
Stacy, I've found it important to remind them that morning or the day before, and then even like an hour or two before it's supposed to start, because people can literally forget to come the same day that you already reminded them and they said they were. It's amazing how forgetful. Yeah. So
yes, Yes,
But
and
not to
that's
say, hey, I want to make sure you didn't forget. Not that, but like you said, like come in
no.
the back door or use the front door or whatever, try to park as close as possible to other people. Whatever the thing is, it's like, oh, they may never tell you that that was their reminder, but it's very subtle. You have to be
Exactly.
subtle.
You don't, one, you don't want to insult them that you thought that they were going to forget. And two, you don't want to give them an out. Well, I guess she kind of already thought I wasn't going to come, so it's not that big of a deal. She's not expecting me or anything. So you know what I mean? But
So
yeah,
tricky when I
if
get
you
someone to
say
show.
don't forget to park out by the street, they know you're waiting for them to get there. Okay. All right, and then preparing, and this is where we can kind of stress ourselves out, and that's not what this is for. Preparing ahead is actually supposed to reduce your stress. Okay, so that's why I encourage people to make a checklist. And I don't want you to look at this and think this is your checklist because you're just going to look completely different. But these are the kinds of things that you might want to add to your list because some of this stuff you may do and some of this stuff you may not do. You may not have handouts. You may not be doing a DIY, whatever. You put the things that you want to do onto your checklist so that you don't forget it and so that you don't have to stress out every 5 seconds. Did I forget something? You have your list. Lists are really your friend. And I know that I'm kind of agreeing there. So but it's only because it will stress me out because I'll have all those things bombarding me in my head constantly if I don't have a list. So keep that together. So you're going to want to gather your supplies. If you're going to have a DIY event, make sure you have all that measured out or put together, organized out. Decide what you want to talk about, whether you're writing a script or you're making bullet points, or you've decided it's going to be if you've decided you're going to have like I always forget what that's called, what we call that. When elementary school, show and tell. I always show and tell. Yeah, show and tell. And that's what we would do a lot of times. Instead of doing an entire script, we'd have show and tell. And each person would go around the room and share about the oil that they brought to the class. So whatever it is, if you're going to do that, you need to plan ahead because you need to make sure you invite people to bring their favorite oil or have something ready to talk about. Sometimes having reference books out is nice because I've even done classes where I have a reference book on the table in front of each person and we have contests about like, oh, I have a cough. What should I use or whatever? And you can kind of get, I mean, it's your kitchen table, right? So you can let them race to give you answers and you can make that as however, make whatever stipulations on that you want for a contest, but you can make it lots of fun. If you're going to have displays, I like to always have a little potted fresh herb of some sort that I can tear the leaves off and pass it around the room. It helps with demonstrating the purity of the oils and just how I could talk about this is where your oil comes from, the smell in your hand, that's the essential oil. It's the only thing in our bottles. So I like to have that tangible thing right there. You can even just have parsley from the store or cilantro from the store or basil or mint or whatever. I usually have an herb garden in the summer. So in the summertime, I just go grab something out of the garden. Having a diffuser going is helpful. You want to have all of those, so fill all your diffusers that you're going to have, whether you're going to have it, put things in your bathroom, make sure your hand soap is refilled, your Thieves hand soap or your Luscious Lemon or whatever, or now your pink champagne, right? If you're going to have handouts, make sure that's all printed out. Make sure that if you're going to do sign up forms, sometimes I do sign up forms. It depends if I have a really big class that I anticipate is going to be very busy, I will have sign up forms so that I don't lose anybody because it has happened before when I'm helping 3 people and we're talking about how to sign up or how to get on loyalty. And they're like, okay, I'll just call you tomorrow because I have to go. That's the worst thing ever. So I'll have people go ahead and sign up right then, even if we're going to enter it in the computer while they're there. That way I don't have to ask for their phone number 3 times because, there was a glitch in my internet or whatever, or if they have to leave, there's no panic moment of trying to squeeze them in. So have that ready if you can. Also having your wish list ready if you're talking on a specific subject and you want to have a wish list already put together that you can share with them. that you can text right over to them or have a QR code. Have that ready already. Don't wait till the last minute. If you're going to have prizes and incentives, have that already. If you're going to have name tags, make sure you have that. Sometimes for name tags, I'll get the sticker labels that are for gifts. It's a lot cheaper that way. And like at Christmas, you can do little Christmas labels, or sometimes there'll be other themes that will have stickers that you can put the names on and make it, it's just really what it is a label. So you just need magic.
Do it, keep it simple if you need to. So as an example, this month I was a little bit in overwhelm when I was planning my class. And so I went with a no theme. We are doing a kitchen table talk. And I literally am coming to the table with my reference guide, starter bundle of oils, and maybe my Zydo hand cradle nearby. So, and that's it. Like, I am not prepping any class or anything like that. If all we do is talk oils, great. If we're talking about people's specific things, great. If one person comes, fine. So so as far as all the things to bring, this time I was like, I'm going to clean my house up a little bit and then, have a diffuser going and keep it simple. So, if you feel like this question is in like, or this part is getting you into overwhelm, simplify it. A handout can be a piece of paper and a pen, right? And let them take their own notes. It's going to stick in their head. So yes, you can do more for people, and you can also just let them receive the information that and have access to that they haven't heard before. And that's enough too.
Absolutely.
And, I feel, yeah, that's a really good point, Bill. And I feel like one of the most important parts of this is them getting the oils on them or tasting the Ninja or whatever it is that you're handing them for an experience. And one of the things that helps me on the prep side is I have a folder with pre-printed out stuff that I use at every class, regardless of what it is. And I can just grab a stack of whatever when I'm walking out the door. And that helps me a lot.
Yeah, that's really good. And keeping it simple. I remember that I did the first class I did for one of my daughters. She had just gotten married and she was in an apartment and she didn't have dishes. I mean, not a ton of dishes, enough for her and her husband, basically. She didn't even have that many chairs. I think I might have even brought a couple of folding chairs over. But we sat in her living room. She had a starter kit and we invited everybody to bring an oil to talk about. And we sat in a circle in her living room. We took the kitchen table chairs in the living room because we needed the couch space because we needed that extra seating. But she was so nervous about it, and they had the best time. In fact, I still have it on video somewhere because they were so enjoying themselves and laughing and sharing stories, and we got some of the best stories that day. But that was an example of one of the most simple classes you can do, and how sometimes that's exactly what's needed, because every one of those ladies that was there felt like they could go home and do exactly what she did. And that's the goal
Also,
of duplication.
yes, I think that's such an important point, Stacy. And if I could just speak to one more thing on that, and forgive me if we talked about this and I missed it, but as far as what you're going to serve, I think that people get really caught up in that, especially if someone's hosting for you or they're hosting for the first time. My go-tos are a jarred salsa, and I drop a couple of drops of lime into it, or cilantro, or both. A drop of lime and a drop of cilantro, and it's amazing. And that's so simple. A bag of chips and salsa, and then there's keto brownie mixes. We were talking about this at your house, and you can drop 1 or 2 drops of peppermint in there, and it's amazing. So just keeping it super simple. A box brownie mix, not a nasty one, get a better one, but it's still cheap. It doesn't matter. Even the more expensive brownie mixes are like, $4, $5. Like, they're not expensive. and
Even if
mix
you
that up.
leave it in the oven 10 minutes too long, right, Shanna?
And
Oh,
you can make a
yes,
box of
even if you
brownies.
leave it in the oven.
You can make a box of brownies the day before, or you could make them in batches and freeze them
They freeze well.
and pull them out.
Yeah.
You know, it like so you do a batch cook and then you're like, all right, well, I'm having a handful of people over and I'm going to pull out a dozen brownies and let them thaw for the night. And by the next day you have them ready to go. And so um so so when you're talking about this, like the keep it simple thing, one of the cool things that I did learn that you can upscale your events a little bit without overwhelming yourself is to have a committed system. So like Shanna's saying, like it's always salsa with this one or two oils in it. It's always a sweet with this one or two things in it. Another one would be cut up apples and yogurt with orange essential oil in it. So super simple things that are just, you know, like on the healthier side, but not perfect. You know, it's still party food. But you have your go-tos and then maybe you try something off script, but for the most part, they know what they're getting when they walk in the door and you know what you've got to do to prepare so that it doesn't take you a ton of time or energy or that your prep work isn't all day for 3 days in a row or something like that. It shouldn't be much. You should be able to come home from dinner or come home from work, working a full day and have an event at your home by 7 p.m. would be the idea. Of
Yeah, and it the prince, what it reminds me of, Jill, is the verse where it says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." You know, we're letting them taste and see. That is the main point. And you could really have a lot of the perfection around it, but the more simple you make it and letting them taste it, letting them see it, that's where it's at, you know.
Yeah. And you know, I usually keep it pretty simple, but every once in a while we do something a little fancier just to make it fun, usually during the holidays or, you know, a special event. During the holidays this past year, we made the mango ninjarita. That was a lot of fun. And I have this recipe here if anybody wants it. But consider whether or not cooking is your thing. If that's something you really enjoy and you get satisfaction from it, then by all means, do it. Just try not to make it seem like the norm. You know what I mean? That like not for one thing, keep it special and make it kind of a unique thing, or explain that this is just what your thing is. So consider your audience too. If you have a lot of people coming that maybe they are, well, for one thing, if you have food allergies, consider that. If you have a lot of people coming that maybe you have dairy intolerance or whatever, you don't want to make everything cheese and cream things that they're going to feel really left out. If you have a really healthy crowd, you're going to want to be careful with what you're using. Does it have sugar in it? Maybe you wouldn't want to do the brownies for that group. If they're all doing the reset, they're not going to want those brownies there. So keep that in mind too. Think about who your audience is. But I really encourage people to find ways to use oil infused foods while you're at it, because that's how you're going to demonstrate the purity and it makes it unique. And then you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. That way it becomes part of your demonstration.
and to that,
Go ahead.
sorry, my husband just decided to pop on. Hold on. So on that, another thing to consider is, you know, like the type of party and considering your audience. You know, some people love a pizza party. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, sorry. Some people love a pizza party, you know, and that's still a party or a get together, right? It can be a book club over coffee. That's still a
Yes.
right? I mean, like, so food is secondary and do what's right for your audience. So, you know, there are the times when something that's a little bit more upscale, you know, is really, really appropriate. And then there's other times where it's just like, let's just hang out and chips and salsa is perfect, you know?
Yeah.
So know
And
that and know what you're capable of and want to do and who you're talking to.
And remembering that not every crowd that comes to your house is going to want to nerd out on oils. Not everybody is, some of us forget that, and we can lose our audience by getting too sciencey on them. They're not ready for it quite yet. You can also make this really inexpensive. These are just some different ways you can add it to drinks. If you want to incorporate Ninja so that people are getting to try it out, especially with the reset going on. A lot of people are wanting to let people taste the Ninja. You can make it go a lot further by adding things to it. We did the Ninja ginger shots at the last party. 1 bottle of Ninja wound up serving 21 ounce jars of the Ninja shots, and that was a good one too. But you can also just mix it with sparkling water, just half and half with sparkling water. If you do that, I do encourage you to put a little bit of Vitality drops in there, just so it doesn't taste like watered down Ninja Red. It gives a little background taste. You could do Ninja mimosas. That's really popular at baby showers and things. And if you serve it so usually the shot glasses that you get, the disposable shot glasses, are usually 2 ounces. If you get communion cups, and you can get those on Amazon, they're 1 ounce. So it'll go a lot further if you get the 1 ounce. There's some of y'all already gave some ideas, but these are 2 recipes that we use during the holidays. One is sweet and one is savory, and it's just a way to demonstrate the purity of the oils and give people ideas on how to use them. But there are less expensive ways and easier ways by taking, and Shanna already covered some of that when she shared about the salsa, but you can get the pre-made hummus or the pre-made guacamole or salsa from Costco, big old giant container of it, and just add whichever oils you want to that. Also adding Vitality drops to water or sparkling water. Sometimes I'll make a fruit water and I'll throw in some berries or watermelon or something, and I'll add the Vitality drops and I'll throw in some fresh mint or whatever, and you've got a fruit water. I do that with my grandkids now so that everybody's not wanting to bring their soda or whatever. I don't want them bouncing off my walls. So it's just a good way of making it look fun and it tastes delicious, and they're able to try it out, and you can talk about the electrolytes and all those things. That's another one.
Super simple one. Sea salt mixed with citrus fresh. And you have people dip pineapple with it. It's lovely. And you can keep using it. So whatever's left, it lasts forever. So
oh, that sounds really fun. Yeah.
It's really good. And a good one.
Remind me to add that to the slide. I like that, Joel.
Yeah.
And you could do the mango turmeric in a lot of things too, but if you do that, I really recommend that you mix it like in a bullet or a Vitamix first, so you don't have the turmeric floating on top. That is not appetizing looking. Ask me how I know. You can also add things to hot tea or coffee, especially in the fall, like peppermint or ocotillo or whatever, or cinnamon, different things. Okay, so the presentation. Now, we already kind of talked about this, but your presentation does not have to be fancy. It does not have to be, you don't have to stand up and behind a podium and present a giant class. It can be very simple. It can be, my favorite style of teaching is to sit around the kitchen table or to sit in a circle in the living room. I don't like to stand up in front of people. I'm not a natural public speaker. I'm not a natural teacher. I can teach one-on-one, kind of like I homeschooled, right? But I would not have enjoyed standing in front of a classroom at all. That would not have been my thing. So I like the more one-on-one settings. I like to be able to see faces and read people's eyes. That's how I'm the most comfortable. And I think a lot of people are way more comfortable that way. Most people aren't. Not everybody is a public speaker. Now, some people are, and they're great at it, and they enjoy it. They derive satisfaction from it. So I'm not going to say that they can't do that, right? This is kind of what we're talking about. Just like hospitality can be someone's thing, or teaching or public speaking or whatever, that can be their thing. Let it be their thing. Just make sure that you make it as doable as possible, and you don't make it seem like that's the only way it's the only way they can do it, because everybody has their different giftings and their different things that they like, that they get energy from. But bottom line is, a presentation is delivering a message. And so as long as that message is getting across to the hearer, then you have taught a class. You have communicated something to them that they need. So, okay. All right. So here's something you don't want to forget. A lot of people put a lot of effort into everything else. They make sure that they cover all of their classes and every single oil in the starter kit and they get everything down. And then they don't really want to do the close part. And this is really, it's not actually doing your audience any favor to avoid that. You know, people will think, oh, I don't want to be salesy, or I don't want them to think this. Really what you're saying, if you say that, is that you're worried about what they think of you. And if that's what we're worried about, then we're not really loving our friends. We're more worried about what they think of us than we are about whether or not they got helped. People want to know how to get started. They want to know that. And they need what you have. So if you really believe that they need what you have, then you're not going to hold out because you're afraid of what they think. That's not loving. Don't be afraid to tell them their options. They want to know. And also don't forget to share the benefits of loyalty. They need to know how to get the most bang for their buck, right? I remember early on, I was afraid to talk to the lady about loyalty because I thought she's already bought this whole kit and she had wound up getting extra stuff. So she had spent a lot of money. And I was like, I don't want to tell her about loyalty yet. I'll tell her about that next month after she's fallen in love with their oils. Well, then when I told her about it the next month, she was mad. She's like, well, why didn't you tell me about this last month so I would have earned points on all this stuff? And that was kind of an aha moment for me. I was like, yeah, that was not very, I actually felt like I owed her money. I owed her, all those points that she could have saved by getting her products for free. So don't be afraid to share with them their options. It is not your responsibility to say no for them. If they want to say no, let it be on them. You just share the options. You're not deciding for them.
On this page, the other thing that I would point out on the close is make your close positive. So I will say that when I got started with the premium starter bundle. And then the following month I did the Thieves bundle and the Ningxia bundle, I think either the next month or something along those lines. So I did 1, 2, 3. Now I could say, gosh, I wish that I had gotten all 3 at the same time so I would have gotten the points and all the extras, but I didn't know. That would be a negative close, right? And it sheds a negative light on my enroller. And in a better way to do that would be, let me tell you the absolute best way to get started. And then from there, you can decide whether that's for you or if you want to pick and choose based on what you're comfortable with. So here's the best way to get started. I recommend doing this, this, and this, right? And typically that looks like 3 bundles. So they're getting all 300 PV and that sort of thing. And so you keep it very positive, and then you accept whatever they're going to do. And then maybe it's that, and then say, and at a minimum, I would do at least one of these bundles today. Right?
Yes. And you can also do also do the math for them as well. Let's show them exactly what if they get this is what you would have next month when you go to, that's how many points you would have saved up for free products. And this is also, you do it for 2 months. This is how much you're going to have. And then you're also going to have a free diffuser. Help them to see what the value is by being on loyalty.
Yeah. Well, and especially since we call these a starter bundle, generally in our vernacular now, we used to say starter kit, not starter bundle. I think it almost lends itself. There might be people doing this business, even like a small level of business for months or years, that never would occur to them to offer someone the opportunity to pick 3 bundles all in their first purchase. Like, your mindset is just, I pick one. It's a starter bundle. So like Jill's saying,
bundle the bundles.
You can get a bundle at any time, but why would you get it to start out with, or why would you choose 3? And I know this might be, it's kind of redundant because we talk about this all the time, but when you're showing someone the monthly promos, to explain to them, if it is within your budget to do so, And I think everybody on this call should write that down. It was like the best phrase I learned over 20 years ago in direct sales training. If it's within your budget to do so, if it's within your budget to add a little bit to this starter bundle or 2 starter bundles in order to hit these promos, they are worth, and every month we should know, what are those promos worth in wholesale and what are they worth in retail? That you're getting this much of a value for free to try these 6 products or try these 4 products or whatever is in those bundles. What's the value? Because it's almost like, so I saw Amber's on the call. Amber's really good at explaining the 25% back on loyalty, that when you get to 2 years on loyalty, and I've been on loyalty for 10 years, okay, I buy things every month on 3 accounts out of my house. That's how much of this stuff we use. But every time I order a $300 order, so if it's in your budget to do that on given months, on some months, or every month, like some people do, you are getting back $75 in a return on that order. So I was in this business now for about 8 years, and I heard Amber say that, and I'm like, you see, because me and numbers, we don't get along well. I'm not a numbers person at all. And Amber said that, I'm like, oh, I do get $75 back every month. I never thought about it that way. So, but if it's
And
within
that's
your,
on top of the freebies, which is usually in the realm of
Right.
about $160 to $200 retail.
and
value.
mentioning that the company is a very generous company, there's really no strings attached to what I'm telling you. There's no string. You're not getting caught in some kind of spider web in order to do that, and then you laugh and they laugh back. It's just that they just want you to enjoy things. They want you to try new products and fall in love with them. Or if you don't like it, give it to your daughter. If you don't need baby wipes, other people do. They make great gifts. You get that second diffuser on your second loyalty order. So you need to have started on loyalty and then do one more order on the next month, and you're getting a diffuser. Maybe you don't need another diffuser. Maybe you have 6 diffusers in your home already from whatever. This is an awesome baby gift or wedding gift. People will be like, ooh, you just don't see those given as shower gifts and, that type of thing. And when you give it as a shower gift, it's promoting your business. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's just a matter of telling people what's there and never be afraid to upsell. In our words, upsell something, because if you don't tell them, like Stacy said, she had somebody get angry or irritable over, why didn't you tell me this before? So a lot of my vernacular when I'm talking to somebody, and I almost always start somebody out at 300. It's very rare that I don't start someone out with 300. It's just kind of assumed. It's just, I want to make sure I go over this with you so that I know I've told you and I've done my job. That, if you don't choose to invest that much, that's fine. If it's not in your budget to do it and you're not ready for that yet, but I want to make sure you know what those promos are in your freebies this month, because they're always so good.
That's really good, Janelle. Those are great
Very
points.
Yeah. And you're literally absolving yourself of the guilt that Stacy came to
Yeah.
of, oh, now I owe her. Right? Wouldn't you rather
Yeah.
up front just, I want to come clean on all of this and make sure the best way to do this. And if it were me, this is what I would do if it was within my budget to do so. Right? And so making sure that, but it's totally, I'm not going to be angry with you if you don't do it my way. I'm telling you mine.
Yeah.
Like,
Give
what
people the freedom to make their own decisions.
And
And if
most
you don't
people,
tell them their options, they don't have the freedom to make that decision. You've decided no for them.
most people actually don't have a budget. Keep that in mind. Smart people have budgets, but most people don't even have a budget. They just kind of willy-nilly buy things. And so it's more just nice, comfortable words that take a sales pressure off of someone going, oh, and try not to use the words sell and buy. Try not to use them if you can help it. Try to say invest, if you invest in this much, or if you're not ready to invest that much right now, instead of if you're not ready to buy that much right now. There's just buy, sell, those words kind of, if you can help it. And if you do, don't apologize, just keep going. but if you can switch your wording to invest, because that's what we're doing with every bottle of oil, and always making sure to explain to a new person, or even some of our seasoned people, they forget that these bottles, other than the citruses, that you really should try to use them in about 2 years, and or so. But other than that, you can keep these bottles for like the next generation. They don't have an expiration date on the oils. So that's important too, because they're not going, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to use it. It's just a common thing. I think that even some people who've been using oils for, a year or something, they're like, oh, I didn't even remember that. They think they have to throw them out at some point.
Yeah, that's good to remember. And then especially if they're stocking up for gifts, and that is one thing when you were talking about the gifts, that's one thing I used my points for in the beginning. I would save it up. And then when it was time to buy a lot of gifts, I would do it all at once with all my points. And also that would save shipping if I was getting everything at once. So I did it that way. But I have like 1,400 points saved up right now. I need to do a shopping spree.
This is a great time to do it too.
Yeah, right. All right, real quick,
Right.
we're out of time here, but we also want to make sure that you're following up. A great way to do a follow-up, and I know this is old-fashioned, but I like to send thank you cards, especially to people that I personally invited who've never been to my class before. I'll send a thank you note just to let them know that I appreciated them coming and, blah, blah, blah. Just making sure that they feel personally noticed. You can also connect and engage with them on social media, tag them with any pictures you took, or if you're not on social media or they aren't, you can send them the photo that you took together. Make it a friendship, make it personal. You can also schedule an unboxing. Hopefully you've done that at the event, but maybe they didn't have their calendar or they wanted to wait. Be sure and call them back up and get that unboxing meetup scheduled. And that doesn't have to be anything formal. Just let them know. I mean, you could meet at a coffee shop or you could meet at the house. If they live too far, you could do a Zoom, however you want to do it, but just make some kind of follow-up meeting as soon as possible. You can also offer to host a one-on-one. We kind of talked about what you could call it without calling it hosting, so it doesn't sound quite so official, but find a way where you can get in front of them to do an additional class, maybe with a friend or two, and just continue to build that friendship, because that's what this is all about. This is friendship marketing. So the better you get to know people, the more likely they're going to want to run with you. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We are out of time, went over a little bit, but hopefully that was worth it. And we will see you soon.
I'm going to mention something on the follow-up real quick since we have a second anyway. They want to hear from you again.
Yes,
right?
they do.
They don't want to be spammed, but they definitely want to hear from you again. So,
and they want to know they're noticed. All right. Well, y'all have an amazing evening, and thanks everybody for coming, and we will see you next time.